Our legend continues. Welcome back to the Sandwich Report. I'm Greg, and if you're enjoying the content we're producing, please consider visiting patreon.com/SandwichPresents, supporting and sponsoring the channel by joining our Patreon. We currently have two tiers available, a $3 tier and a $5 tier. At both tiers, you get amazing Discord benefits, and at the $5 tier, you get your name carved into the mythical Nern Stone, which is featured in every video. I want to thank these lovely supporters. In addition to that, at the $5 tier, you also get monthly comic book drops. So thank all of you for your continued support and sponsorship. I truly, truly do appreciate it. Thank you. Update 2.5 will introduce a new playable hero for all platforms, Jane Foster, the Mighty Thor. Our hero designs are driven first and foremost by their core comic book identities. So, as a fellow wielder of Mjolnir, her suite of abilities will have a lot in common with the Odin Sons. However, she will also have elements that are distinctly Jane. More details on how Jane will come to life in our game will be coming in the future. So 2.5 will introduce Jane Foster, the Mighty Thor. Her suite of abilities will have a lot in common with the Odin Son. Sounds very much so as though it's a bit of a reskin. However, she will also have elements that are distinctly Jane. It's a weird kind of it's a weird message. It's kind of a jumbled message. I have to assume she's going to be 95% Thor. She's just going to play like Thor. That's it. This seems the closest we'll ever get to this seems like it's going to be very, very much so a clone in the most traditional sense. You know, She-Hulk, for example, isn't just going to be, hey, here's all of Hulk's abilities with this character model. But it sounds like that's what Jane is going to be. If it gets a character out, though, and if it allows them to put out more characters that are like, does this character really need that much work beyond like here's a model, here's a voice, here's an actor, then good on them. I mean, there's two ways of looking at this, right? There just is. There's two ways you can look at this. One is they are incredibly, you could look and say they're incredibly behind schedule. We haven't gotten a roadmap. There's been no, there is no roadmap anymore. The roadmap, there was never a roadmap. You could look at it and say they potentially weren't ready, that they don't have, that they're very much so behind. And if it wasn't for Jane Foster, we might not see anything until August. I mean, it's impossible to know, right? There's rumors. There's always going to be rumors. There's always going to be leaks and anonymous reports, and so many of those are impossible to kind of comb through in terms of getting identities confirmed and things like that. So Jane Foster is going to be Thor, right? It very much so sounds like she's going to be 95% a Thor clone. But also, she really shouldn't be all that distinct either. How different could she really need to be? She's still going to be someone wielding Mjolnir. And it's allowing them to get a character out. And if it works, maybe they'll be able to get other characters out. Maybe they'll be able to do this more quickly. Because not every character, I suppose, needs that kind of, that level of detail and that level of work done. Maybe it will save on budget. Decisions like this are usually, made based on budgetary reasons. And it also shows their willingness to maybe accommodate isn't the best word, but acknowledge the MCU brand synergy. It's inevitable. That kind of synergy is just absolutely inevitable. But again, all we can really do is speculate on where have the heroes been for the first half of the year. Data mining. I always say this, but I always try to remind people, data mining is just a part of the puzzle, right? It's a matter of saying, looking at it and going, we have this information, we can concretely say this information, but there's no release date tied to it. But when so much has been done on She-Hulk and Captain Marvel and Winter Soldier, and to not have a hero drop for all platforms since August. It's really weird. I mean, because these characters, I mean, okay, She-Hulk can sort of line up with her Disney Plus show if they choose to wait. Let's assume, again, as optimistically as possible, let's assume Jane Foster arrives in 2.5 and that's in June, right? That we get a June update and it's Jane Foster. It ties in with the July Thor film. That's the best case scenario, is we get the first new hero in June. 10 months? About, 10 or so months since Black Panther dropped. So PC, Xbox players is what we're going off of there. We have rumors that the She-Hulk series is going to premiere between August and September. So She-Hulk drops then for brand synergy? But there is no brand synergy for Winter Soldier. So She-Hulk and Winter Soldier will, maybe they drop relatively close. Captain Marvel and the big Kree expansion with the Marvels in February. It doesn't seem, it's a very strange plan, because you usually, and because marketing and business, again, maybe maybe their internal testing has given them different answers, but it seems weird to do something that big in February, because it's like in terms of a really big content drop, no big content drops this year in 2022. Unless a lot more is coming with some of these heroes than we initially speculated on, unless they're, something big is coming with potentially She-Hulk or Winter Soldier or even, Thor. Obviously, I know everybody, I've seen the comments and stuff. Everybody's like, hey, could this give us Asgard finally? I would hope so, but right now, there's no evidence. Right now, there's no evidence. So it's a matter of really managing your expectations, because that's really been our relationship with the Avengers, just kind of managing expectations. The idea and concept of roadmaps are gone. We're not getting roadmaps anymore. They're doing away with roadmaps completely, which also, that's a whole other conversation in itself. But all they really said about 2.5 is that it's going to have a new hero. They didn't tease villains. They didn't tease locations. They didn't tease anything. So it's just a matter of waiting and seeing. As of the recording of this video, of course, by the time this video goes up, they may have spoken more on it. But where we're at right now, we just don't really know anything, because they're deviating. They are, and which again, they're a company. It's within their right, but they're deviating from at least what the data mine suggests are characters that are effectively done, and without a transparent, or someone coming out saying this is why we did it, which we're never going to get. This is a business. We're never going to get those kind of direct answers. I can't imagine a scenario where we get those kind of direct answers unless someone, reaches out to us anonymously, which again, GregSandersPresents@gmail.com. If you're willing to speak to us, if you are in any way associated with Crystal Dynamics and you're willing to speak with us, that information will absolutely remain private. Your identity will be protected. I think we would all love some insight, but we just don't have the insight. We just know Jane Foster's coming in update 2.5. We don't have a release window. We assume, and I think this is rightfully so, I think this is a reasonable deduction. We assume, since she is in Thor Love and Thunder, and she is the mighty Thor in Love and Thunder, that her release will coincide between June and July. And there is also the final notation that a developer said that, and again, I know that this is a meme, but you'll be surprised how quickly 2.5 comes. And I know we've heard a different phrasing from that before. I know we have. But there's just nothing to go on. The paragraph, the way they describe her, makes her sound like a 90 to 95% clone of Thor. There are other heroes that they could also turn around very quickly with that same kind of attitude. But it's all just up in the air. because we don't know what this means for Avengers. We don't know what this means for the other heroes that we have data mined. We don't know what this means for the heroes that we've data mined that are pretty much effectively done. I mean, in terms of casting, in terms of voice work, like, we don't know what this means. All of this is very much up in the air, and it's just a matter of waiting and seeing. I feel like even now, in terms of your monetary investment, and again, this is all individual, your choice. I still feel like the game goes to at least Captain Marvel and the Kree Invasion. I can't imagine that work being wasted. I just can't. I can't for the life of me imagine that just getting dumped in the trash. And maybe I'm way off base, and fine, so be it. I'm cool with it, because again, all I'm doing is just looking. I'm just looking at the information. I'm just looking at the data and going, how do you abandon all of this? So I can't imagine they're abandoning stuff that's so far done, right? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me to at least. So I mean, I feel like we at least finished that out. I mean, but that's me. That's me. If you feel different, so be it. But for me, this is just the start of the conversation, because I'm more interested in the feedback to this. This video will act hopefully as kind of a lightning rod for a lot of the questions and comments that I've been getting. I'm very, very curious to know the feeling around Jane Foster, the implication that it sounds like she's going to be a heavy, clone and reuse of Odin's son. How does everybody feel about it? And what does this mean for Avengers' future in terms of fast-tracking heroes, in terms of the response? I mean, is it okay to get a Beta Ray Bill that is mostly a clone of Thor as well, if it gets us Beta Ray Bill? What's the parameter? What's the feeling on it? I want to know, because I feel like there's a part 2 to this conversation, but it's not really a part 2 I can have without getting perspective. That's not mine. And having other people's perspectives. So I'm very much so looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the feedback. I'm looking forward to the conversation and us being able to follow up on it. So be honest, leave your thoughts and stuff. And we'll see what the conversation spins out of. So as I said at the top of the video, to my patrons, thank you all so much for your support and your sponsorship. If you're able, please visit patreon.com/SandersPresents and sponsor us there. That link is available in the description below. Then, also in the description, you can join our amazing Discord community, The Tower. That invitation is available in the description. Finally, my debut novel, 89 Instrument of Destruction, is available to order now from Amazon, so please consider picking that up. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, share our content with your friends across social media. It helps immensely with YouTube's analytics and algorithms. Above all else, and most importantly, stay safe, take care of others, have a legendary day. Bye, everyone.